Good morning. Welcome to this online gathering of the Unitarian Universalist Church of Little Rock. I'm Rebecca Roetzel. I am currently a member of the church and serving as the Worship Arts Chair. It is my pleasure to be with you this morning. Wherever you are, whoever you are, we are glad you have chosen to be with us. At UUCLR, we strive to build a beloved community through shared worship, responsible spiritual freedom, exploration, and reverence. We are a welcoming community, embracing our interconnectedness, engaging with others by living our principles in our community, and working to transform our world and ourselves. Today, we celebrate our own UU holiday, illUUmination, and I think perhaps this year we are making history with the very first online illUUmination worship service ever. Before we begin our service, I'm going to encourage you to go gather a few things. These will make your service just a little richer. First, a light. This could be a candle or even a flashlight. Anything that can represent light. Second, find a mirror. Could be classic like this, or even something very small would do the trick. It doesn't have to be fancy or a traditional mirror. You can find anything that would reflect your light. Lastly, it's illUUmination. So maybe you don't have an illUUmination tub of decorations hiding in your closet with purple plumes and sequin tablecloths, but I know you have purple and silver in your house somewhere. Take a moment to look around you. I'm sure you can find something. Find these items, a light, a mirror, purple and silver. Bring them close to you. Draw them in. We will take a moment and our illUUmination service will begin shortly.
Each week we light a chalice at the beginning of our service. For UUs, this historic symbol represents the light of reason, the warmth of community, and the flame of hope. This week I light our chalice with the ending lines of the poem The Hill We Climb by Amanda Gorman. When day comes and we step out of the shade, aflame and unafraid, the new dawn blooms as we free it, for there is always light, if only we're brave enough to see it, if only we're brave enough to be it.
Good morning. Please join me in saying our affirmation of covenant. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve humankind in fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other.
Good morning. I'm Sue McDonald, Board President of this wonderful, loving UU congregation. I'm standing next to our illUUmination tree that we light each year during our Saturday night celebration. Since 1994, our church has celebrated illUUmination, a holiday conceived within one of the UUCLR's member families in response to their child's desire to celebrate not only the special days of other faiths, but a special day of our own. illUUmination is a celebration of the chalice. This holiday has taken on many shapes over the years, this year for sure, but the tradition includes a feast and fellowship on Saturday night, followed by a Sunday service for all ages. Though we celebrate together but apart today, we invite you to participate as we rekindle the light from our chalice, the light which binds us together as a community of faith, understanding, and action.
Where there is light in the soul, there will be beauty in the person. Where there is light in the soul, where there is beauty in the person, there will be harmony. There will be harmony. There will be harmony in the home. Where there is harmony in the home, there will be honor in the nation. Where there is honor in the nation, there will be peace. There will be peace. There will be peace. Where there is light in the soul, where there is light in the soul, where there is peace in the world, there will be peace in the world, where there is light in the soul, there will be peace, will be peace, will be peace. Where there is light in the soul, there'll be peace. Where there is light, there will be
Dawn Harris was a beloved member of UUCLR. When I started attending, she was one of the first people I interacted with regularly through RE work and other conversations. Though now I fondly remember her smile and her laugh and her dancing, the way she could deliver the jolliest of news with a fierce intensity. It did take me a moment to appreciate Dawn. Sometimes the things she said felt like sandpaper. But by the simple nature of us both being at the UU, I knew that she and I must have common interests or shared values and common goals. So I listened to what she said. And over time, I realized that the things she said really were like sandpaper, to varying degrees of grit. They were bits of truth, helpful suggestions, and different perspectives I hadn't considered. I became more open to her contributions and, before too long, intentionally sought them out. She had a unique way of helping me smooth out anything I was working on or thinking through at the church. Dawn always said yes to assisting with illUUmination events I coordinated, and it turns out she was involved this year as well. My illUUmination inspiration came to me through one of my most poignant memories of Dawn. It was the first time I heard her deliver the time altogether about mirrors. The words are not hers, but they, embodied with her delivery to our youth, have stuck with me. They are perfectly suited for this holiday. I'm quite certain that she delivered this particular time altogether more than once over the decades, so it may be familiar to some of you, but I ask you to receive it again, in the spirit of illUUmination. Mirrors. I have a story today about a teacher named Dr. Alexander Papaderos and a Unitarian Universalist minister named Robert Fulghum. Sometimes, at the end of a long class or meetings, the speaker will ask if there are any questions. Sometimes, Reverend Fulghum would ask, "What is the meaning of life?" "You never know," he said. "Someone just might have an answer, and I'd hate to miss it just because I didn't ask." Mostly, though, people would laugh and pick up their books and start to leave. But one time, he got a serious answer. Alexander Papaderos was a man who had created an institute of peace, started after the Second World War to heal the hatred among the people of Germany and Crete. There were many classes offered at his institute, and Dr. Fulghum was taking a 2-week course. On the last day, Dr. Papaderos said, "Are there any questions?" And Reverend Fulghum asked, "What is the meaning of life?" People laughed and started to leave, but Dr. Papaderos held up his hand and said, "I'll answer your question." He took his wallet from his pocket and took out a very small mirror. What he said went like this. "When I was a small child during the war, we were very poor and lived in a small village. One day on the road, I found the broken pieces of a mirror where a German motorcycle had crashed. I tried to find all the pieces and put them together, but it was not possible. So I kept the largest piece, this one. I made the edges smooth by scratching it on a stone. I began to play with it as a toy and became fascinated by the fact that I could reflect light into dark places where the sun would never shine. In deep holes and crevices and dark closets, it became a game for me to get light into the most hidden places I could find. I kept the little mirror, and as I grew, I would take it out once in a while and continue the game. As I became a man, I began to understand that this was not just a child's game, but a guide for what I might do with my life. I came to understand that I am not the source of light, but light, or truth, understanding, knowledge, light is there, and it will only shine in many dark places if I reflect it. I am a fragment of a mirror whose whole design and shape I do not know. Nevertheless, with what I have, I can reflect light into the dark places of this world, into the black places in the hearts of others, and change some things in some people. Perhaps others may see and do likewise. This is what I am about. This is the meaning of my life." And then he took his small mirror and, holding it carefully, caught the rays of the sunlight through the window and reflected them onto Dr. Fulghum's face. Much of what Dr. Fulghum learned in his class that summer faded from his memory, but to this day, in the wallet of his mind, he still carries a small piece of mirror. Are there any questions? Near the end of Dawn's life, I finally took the time to write her a letter, just to express my love and gratitude for the ways that she had used her mirror to shine light into my dark corners. The letter was returned to me on the day I learned of her passing. I sent it a day too late, and I keep it as a reminder of Dawn, but of the times that she shined light onto my path, of the importance to say things that need to be said before it's too late. But somehow, I can imagine Dawn here, raising her eyebrows at me and shaking her finger, but also with her pursed lips into a bit of a grin and a glint in her eye, as if she knew this is exactly how it was meant to be. May we keep our mirrors polished, so they may reflect the light of truth, understanding, and love into the dark places of the world.
Hello again. Today is the fifth Sunday, and as our tradition is, we give our plate offering to a Unitarian Universalist group. For this Sunday, we've chosen the Unitarian Universalist Social Committee that helps advance human rights through social activism. So please, I've got a video coming up. Give it a listen, see what all they have to do, and then go to our website to make a donation. Thank you.
UUSC has spent 80 years serving communities facing injustice. We invite you to join us as we move deeper into the work of advancing human rights across the globe. Our world is crying out for us to face and address challenging, complex, and intersecting human rights issues like climate justice, dehumanizing and deadly immigration policies, and the criminalization of people because of their identities. At UUSC, the heart of our work is a commitment to partnerships rooted in trust and respect. With our partners, we strive to affirm the worth and dignity of all people by advancing human rights and dismantling the systems that oppress people. The lifeblood of our work is the support of our members. Building collective power is the work of every person of faith and conscience. We need your support to strengthen movements for justice. Together, we are building a better world that respects every person's inherent worth and dignity.
My son Luke turned 4 in August. This was the first time through the holidays that he seemed to be aware and interested in what was going on. In October, he became obsessed with Halloween. He wanted to watch all the Halloween-themed cartoons that popped up on our Netflix homepage. He and his little sister pretty much still request a spooky movie and popcorn every night of the week. The books and shows and costumes we consumed in October introduced witches and ghosts and zombies and vampires. And even though they were all G or PG-rated versions, the plots and elements of those Halloween shows did involve some of the classic methods for creating a feeling of suspense and spookiness. And then it happened. We noticed a shift in his fears. He began naming things as spooky that he hadn't noticed or thought of in that way before. He suddenly didn't want to use the bathroom alone, and his list of reasons why we should not leave him alone in his bed at night changed and grew. His nightlight was spooky, his closet was spooky. Even his 2-year-old little sister began labeling all number of things as spooky, like the neighbor's cat and a photo on the fridge. Her waffles. Luke and I were the first ones to wake up on Christmas morning. We were at Granny and Grandpa's house. They are in our bubble. The sun was far from up as we moved through the dark house. Standing in the dark at the threshold of the hallway, he gripped my hand and named a spooky speculation about what was up ahead. What should we do? I probed. And then he answered his own nervous question with, let's turn on the lights. Once the hallway was lit up, he said, see? Nothing spooky. That's not a monster. It's a chair. We proceeded like this through the house, each dark threshold offering a new chance of spooky speculation and turning on a light. Whether Luke's fears were rooted in a true fear or conditioned or simply just entertainment, I don't know. But it became a journey of illumination. We have begun a new year. 2021 has mostly been given the responsibility to not be 2020, as if the stars assigned events based on a calendar year. I don't know. At any rate, we have high hopes for this year. And my hope is that 2021 is a journey of illumination for all people. We have a lot of lights to turn on, a lot of mirrors to position. We, not just 70 million others, need these lights to see the truth, to understand our reality. I challenge you to name the things that you find spooky. That is, your fears, stereotypes, hidden biases, unknowns, instabilities, and insecurities. Do some work to better identify what it is that those who are different from you also find spooky. Then illuminate the room. And as crazy as it might sound, I don't think that means just illuminating facts. We must illuminate our common ground, our unified visions, our core goals and values, our basic human needs and nature, our shared hopes and dreams for our children and our futures. I believe those are the truths we need at this moment. We must position our mirrors with kindness, patience, compassion, sound research, reserved judgment, open minds. It might require learning the language, checking for a shared understanding of specific terminologies, and defining our definitions. Humanize truth. Dig for the roots. Are the fears true or conditioned or entertainment? Seize moments. Create moments. And always act boldly within our first principle to respect the worth and dignity of all people. Many years ago, I heard an analogy that has stuck with me, though not verbatim. It speaks to conflict within an interpersonal relationship, but essentially it says this: this moment is but a single grain of sand tossed between us. But in time, we will look at each other from across a great desert. Our divisions were not created overnight. The words of Amanda Gorman, the first youth poet laureate, have been catching like wildfire since she spoke at the inauguration ceremony. Snippets of her poem seem to encompass so many pieces of our illumination message this year. In her words, I hear elements of our UU faith loud and clear. Peace and justice, truth and light, our burning chalice, our intention to leave a legacy of love. I'm going to close today with 4 select verses of her poem, The Hill We Climb. And many of you, again, have probably heard these. They will be familiar, but I invite you to receive them in a spirit of illumination. When day comes, we ask ourselves, where can we find light in this never-ending shade? The loss we carry, the sea we must wade. We've braved the belly of the beast. We've learned that quiet isn't always peace. And the norms and notions of what just isn't always justice. We seek to harm none and harmony for all. Let the globe, if nothing else, say this is true, that even as we grieved, we grew, that even as we hurt, we hoped, that even as we tired, we tried, that we'll forever be tied together, victorious, not because we will never again know defeat, but because we will never again sow division. We will not be turned around or interrupted by intimidation because we know our inaction and inertia will be the inheritance of the next generation. Our blunders become our burdens, their burdens. But one thing is certain. If we merge mercy with might and might with right, then love becomes our legacy and change our children's birthright. We will rebuild, reconcile, and recover, and every known nook of our nation and every corner called our country, our people diverse and beautiful will emerge, battered and beautiful. When day comes, we will step out of the shade, aflame and unafraid. The new dawn blooms as we free it. For there is always light, if only we're brave enough to see it, if only we're brave enough to be it. May it be so. Thank you for choosing to worship with us today. We have postponed the Saturday portion of our traditional illUUmination celebration to a weekend where we can find some more perfect weather. You can keep an eye out for the new date in your inbox. We will consider it an extension of illUUmination because perhaps the universe knows we're going to need a second dose here in a few weeks. I invite you to stand or stretch in body or spirit and join me in saying our closing words together. Go out into the world in peace. Have courage. Hold on to what is good. Return to no person evil for evil. Strengthen the faint-hearted. Support the weak. Help the suffering. Honor all beings. Thank you. Happy illUUmination. Until next time.